Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the dimensional exchange. I'm not sure when I'll upload this. I'll probably upload it a bit closer to the exchange being available. It is a day and a little bit away at the time of recording this, but we're going to be looking at Joker and Queen because it's the most commonly asked question at the moment. Which one do I get? So I'm going to do my best to answer it, so let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to try and do the quick TLDR version at the start, and then I'm going to look at them and go deeper into decisions about making on whether you want to take one or the other. So basically at endgame at the moment, players are finding more use out of Joker. So if you're looking at the current meta, what people are getting more use out of, Joker is the one. Now, will he always be? I don't know. But that is just what's happening. That is like the facts of the vibes of what's happening in the endgame community. So Joker is seen as the better one at the moment. Now, on top of that, if you just like Queen, for me personally, if we could only get one, if I could only get one, I've saved for both. I would personally take Queen because I don't see either of them being completely game breaking at the moment. If it turned out that Joker ended up being game breaking later on, I'd be a bit salty. But at the moment, Queen is the one. I just prefer her design. I like her abilities. I feel like she may get some uses later on. But obviously I am taking both. So that's completely up to you. If you prefer Queen, go Queen. If you want to follow the current meta, then go for Joker. I think if you are a light spender and happy to spend, I think it's $15, it's a really good value pack to buy one of them for the $15 and then go ahead and exchange for the other. It's just, if you are going to spend money in the game, I just feel like it's an incredibly high value pack to get a limited character that you won't get again. Now, some people are talking about not getting either of them. Like I said, at the moment in the meta, Joker is the most popular at endgame. However, neither of them are like Irons Albedo top tier type stuff, so you can just skip them if you're that way inclined. Me personally, I would never do that. Like I said, I'm a collector. I like to have these limited things because you never know where it's going to go. Plus, they're just cool to have. So I would never do that personally. But if you're looking at the current meta, once again, things could change. Neither of them are like must-haves for me. On my main account and on my free-to-play account, main account, I bought them. Free-to-play account, I'm just exchanging them. They're basically going to be bench warmers for a fair while. They're just going to sit there. They're sort of like nice toys to play around with, but you don't necessarily need them at this stage. Not, in my opinion, worth putting the investment into their signature items and furniture above other core heroes that I haven't built yet. So that's the way I'm going to be using them. But hopefully that can give you, if you just wanted a quick answer, that can give you that. Now I want to jump in, look at their skills a bit more, and just talk about some additional factors of why you might choose either one. Okay, so first up, Joker, we have his ultimate here, which is just AoE damage, basically nothing else to it, some AoE damage. This is the ability that really makes Joker. He chooses a combat target, which is the one directly opposite him at the start of battle, sees their faction, goes, I'm changing my faction to be stronger than you. So with Dimensionals at the moment, Dimensionals don't have a factional advantage or disadvantage against anything, but him being able to get an advantage over that enemy opposite him is really, really nice. Moving on from that, anytime he attacks an enemy that he has factional advantage over, he is going to knock them down for 3 seconds when we get the skill ups, which is really, really nice. So with this, basically the fact of that knockdown that he has, if the enemy team has 3 or so enemies of the same faction, you really want to be going opposite one of them, so you get factional advantage over the enemies is pretty much the way it happens. There's a little bit added into that, but that's as much as we need to really go deep into. This one, each time Joker has used his normal attack 4 times, he will also use his gun to deal 180% damage to his combat target. Now, this is really cool. It does scale up to only be 3 attacks. The thing about this is it's really nice because you can have him opposite a back row enemy. It gives you some just steady CC on that back row enemy because every time he attacks them, because he'll have a factional advantage over them, he's going to knock them down for 3 seconds as well. Really, really strong, just back row CC if you want to use it that way. And then we have this awesome ability, which gives the wicked animation when he does do it. where if three or more enemies, or all of the enemies, so if there's only 2 enemies left and both of them are CC'd, so 3 or more, or whatever's remaining, if they're CC'd, he uses this ability to deal AoE damage. As you can see, it's 300% AoE damage, which is the same multiplier as his ultimate. So when he does that, he's just basically going to trigger this huge thing, and it actually does scale up to be higher than his ultimate. So he's going to do that AoE damage. Now, this does give him synergies with things that trigger CC. On top of that, if he does use his ultimate and there's 3 enemies that he has factional advantage over, he is going to also proc this, giving him effectively, if they hadn't procced it before, it gives him a 640% AoE damage multiplier, along with some CC tied into it, which is actually really, really nice. Now, this ability can be triggered once every 7 seconds and can be used up to a maximum of 3 times per battle. If you trigger in this 3 times, hopefully the enemy team is gone anyway. That's like a 21-second duration to actually proc it all those times. And for his signature item, it's actually a really nice signature item at base. After Joker uses his ultimate ability, AoE range of his normal attacks is increased, and for 7 seconds, during which the time the damage dealt is plus 20%. It's honestly not bad just as an unlock, and then we do get the extra stats when he is proccing that, so he gets like the AoE range on his basic attacks. Not too bad on that. And then the furniture is basically gives him a chance to break out of CC and gain some CC immunity, is the gist behind that. But like I said, he's the kind of one, unless you're really, really endgame, which you've probably already bought him or you're saving for him anyway, you know, you're not going to worry too much about the upgrades on this. The thing to note is that he does have a really nice signature item just to unlock or get to level 10, which is fairly cheap. But that is Joker. Really nice, got a fair bit of CC tied into him with that factional advantage thing. Obviously, he's going to be useful in every fight, faction based, because he's always going to be able to have the advantage in faction, and then he can deal some nice AoE damage. But like I said, he's just not sort of like dominating metas. You've got irons and stuff like that. He's sort of a really good complement to things like a Gwyneth team and stuff like that, which Gwyneth isn't shining too bright at the moment in the end game. So that is Joker. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at Queen, and this, I'll explain why I would go Queen if I could only get one. Like I said, she's not the meta choice at the moment. When I first read her skills and when I read over them again, it just sounds like a really powerful kit, but it's just not working effectively at the moment. And I feel like if something comes into the game that somehow makes her work the way I feel like she could work, she could be absolutely amazing. So let's go through the skills. Like Queen, I really like Queen. I love her animations and all that stuff. So let's get into it. So this one here, when we look at raw numbers on this, so it's an AoE damage. She basically rides her bike, does doughies, drags everyone into the center, but does 60% AoE 7 times. That's 420%. And then the final attack is going to do 250, which makes it a 670, if my math is correct, a 670% multiplier, which is bigger than Joker's anyway. So like that's bigger than Joker doing his ultimate to proc his passive one and doing both of those damage. So I think that was 640 or something for Joker. So it's a big AoE damage. Now it's not just hit everyone type damage, but everyone that's in it, it's nice AoE damage. So if you've got a team grouping them up, it could be nice, but that is that ability. So nice AoE damage, and drags them into the center. And also, Queen cannot be attacked while the effects of her ultimate ability occurring. So she's spinning, it takes a little bit of time, she's doing some nice AoE damage, and she can't be damaged at the same time. Sounds really solid. Yes, it's not working yet. So Queen summons her motorbike to deal 250% damage to all enemies in front, and it also generates a nuclear effect which lasts for 5 seconds. So anyone hit, they get this nuclear effect. If an enemy suffers 2 critical strikes while the effect is active, they shall be stunned for 2 seconds. Enemies can be stunned multiple times. So the nuclear effect lasts 8 seconds. Queen does a comboing basic attack. So if she starts critting, or you have allies with, you know, decent crit rate, doing some AoEs to the same targets she's hit, you can get some really spammed, you know, just CC in there, because if you just keep spamming crits into them and they can be stunned multiple times, you can almost effectively, theoretically, lock them out for the 8 seconds. Once again, not quite how she's getting around, but that's how it's like, that's how it could work. Next up, Queen's crit rating. We'll look at the max skill. Queen's crit rating is increased by 10% and her defense rating is increased by 30% each time her attributes are increased. So basically every 10 seconds she gets those boosts. So not too bad. As you can see, it should really stack up her defense. The main problem, which I haven't mentioned for Queen, is she just gets melted really early in games at the moment. Even maxed out, people are struggling. I just feel like it's going to take someone to do a real deep test and invest everything to Queen and spend one of the smart endgame players to really spend a month testing and they'll find something. I feel like it could happen. Anyway, Queen deals a 4-hit combo with each hit dealing 160% damage to the enemy target, and on the final hit summons Johanna, her motorbike, which knocks nearby enemies backwards and causes them to be stunned for 3 seconds. Once again, more CC getting brought in there. And then we have her signature item. Queen is granted a shield which exists for 5 seconds and has a value equal to 25% of her max health every time Johanna is summoned by one of her abilities. And Johanna, her motorbike, is summoned by this ability, and this ability. So it comes out a lot. And as we can see, it goes up to a value of 35% of Queen's max HP, and then at level 30, Queen gains an additional 25% crit rating and 30 crit amplification points while the shield exists. So she's getting those nice buffs there. And then for the furniture, we have Queen attacks an enemy that is being controlled. Herself and nearby allies are healed for 40% of the attack's damage value. Now the healing's not great on that, so don't rely on it as a healer. And then this one, Queen heals herself and her allies while also increasing her and her allies' attack rating by 30% for 3 seconds, cannot be stacked. So as you can see, you can tell I get excited about these abilities because I just feel like the kit there on Queen is really nice. And this is me just trying to justify why I would take Queen if I could only take one. Not trying to force you into taking Queen. Like I said, if you want to take Joker, take Joker. He's the meta choice at the moment. He's cool as well. But for me, I just see this kit, when you read it out and see how much it has, I feel like eventually it's going to be useful, and that's sort of what I'd be placing my bets on. Plus, I really like the motorbike, so, it's a cool effect. But at the moment, like I said, Queen just not working as good as her kit sounds and unique as it sounds. No one can get it to work at the moment in endgame, whereas Joker is really working in the endgame. However, in the early mid-game, I think Queen is quite decent. She just falls off. Once that damage starts scaling so high, she just doesn't have time to ramp up, and her shields just melt, even though she is wearing plate. I also think that part of the equation may be that a lot of people don't invest into the warrior tree, so that she might be a little bit weaker in the end game in that sense as well, because most people are going into the ranger tree, which obviously Joker is going to benefit from. But that's another thing why Joker is better, because in the end game there are more better ranger classes, so more people do invest in that branch of the tree, giving them more stats in general, and then he has more synergies. But anyway, guys, let me know what your decision is, what you're going to do, whether you bought them, whether you're going to buy one, exchange the other, or whether you're going to exchange both, or just pick up one. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.